الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على رسوله النبي الكريم. My name is Brother Wisam, and I'm here to tell you a story about a little boy that I once knew. This little boy was about 9 years old. He started to learn to read Quran, and he told his mom, he said, I'm going to learn to read Quran like those guys on the tape. And he learned to read Alif, Ba, Ta, and that's all he knew. But he kept telling his mom, I'm going to learn. I'm going to learn. So when he was 9 and a half, he started learning the letters. When he was 10, he started learning a little bit about the A's, the E's, and the U's. But it got really hard when he was 10. Because when he was 10, he wanted to play a lot. So I remember this little boy saying, Inshallah, I'll learn before I'm 12. So he learned to read Quran, but very slowly, and not very well. People didn't want him to read. So when he turned 12 years old, he finally finished reading half of the Quran. And a lot of the kids around him had already finished reading Quran, and a lot of the kids were almost done reading Quran the second time. But how much did he read before he was half? Good. So how many sections in the Quran are there? There's 30, right? So what's half of 30? 15. Very good. So there are 15 juz that he had read, but he still wasn't reading good. So when he was 12 years old, his mom asked him, what do you want to do when you grow up? And when he was 12 years old, he said, I remember when I was little, I want to make $1 million. That was what I want to be when I grow up. I want to make $1 million. So his mom asked him, when do you want to do that? And I remember that little boy saying, when I'm 25 years old, I'm going to get $1 million. And he said that sometime when he was like 7 or 8. But he remembered that when he was how old? 12. When he was 12, he told his mom, I can read Quran now, and when I grow up, I'll be able to do something. So he went on and he studied Quran and he memorized Quran. He learned it from cover to cover. Along the way, he had a good time. He told a lot of jokes and had a really fun time. But what did he do by the time between he was 12 and 15? He memorized the whole Quran. Then he went to college and he did a whole bunch of things. But what did he tell his mom he was going to do on his 25th birthday? What was he going to do? He was going to make $1 million on his 25th birthday. So he went on, he studied Quran, and he went to study Quran in different countries, all over the world. And he started studying, and people then say, could you read? Could you read for me? And the people learned to read from him. But where did he end up on his 25th birthday? Can anyone guess where he ended up? What country do you think he ended up with on 25th birthday? How'd you know? You guessed, right? Because where would you want to be on your birthday? I don't know. I'd rather be in Chuck E. Cheese, but a good place to be also is where? Saudi Arabia. In Makkah. Very good. So in Saudi Arabia, on his 25th birthday, he was in Makkah. But what didn't he have? He didn't have $1 bazillion yet. You were going to say Makkah, so where in Saudi Arabia do you think he was? He was inside Saudi Arabia. Where was he in Saudi Arabia? In Makkah, right? So that day, somebody came and told that young man, today we're going to clean the inside of the Kaaba. And I said, wow, that's so cool. And I told that little boy, I said, one day when you're 25, remember to call me. Remember to tell me what happens on your 25th birthday. So someone told the little boy they're going to clean the inside of the Kaaba, but how old was that little boy now? 25 years old. So somebody came to that little boy who was now 25 and said, today we're going to clean the inside of the Kaaba. Do you want to come? Because you want to see the inside of the Kaaba? And the person then said, okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to go inside, we're going to clean the Kaaba, and we're going to pray 2 rak'ah. The boy went inside, he cleaned the inside of the Kaaba, he prayed 2 rak'ah, and when he was inside, he read Quran. Does anyone know what the inside of the Kaaba looks like? No. Right? But if he didn't know how to read Quran, would he be able to read inside the Kaaba? If he didn't learn when he was little, would he be able to read inside the Kaaba? If he didn't know how to read, very good. You know how to read Quran, and your dad has an iPhone. So he went inside. This is the important part of the story. And he said, "Oh Allah, I thank you that I learned to read Quran when I was little. Because if I didn't know how to read, I wouldn't read it here today." But here's the interesting part of the story. He finished, and there were thousands of guards surrounding the Kaaba because only 8 or 9 people went inside. He came outside, and a man came to him and gave him his phone back. The man who borrowed his phone gave his phone back. And that morning, on the 26th of August, his phone rang. He picked up his phone, and who do you think? Who called you on your birthday? Your mom did. So his mom called and said, "Would you trade?" What do you think his mom was asking about? His mom said, after he came out of the Kaaba, he prayed, he read Quran. His mom called him. She said, "Salam." He said, "Would you trade?" What was she asking him about? Not the phone. That's a good catch. What did that kid say? $1 million for what? For going inside the Kaaba. And what did the little boy say? The little boy said, "I already need my $1 million."